This is a final hearing involving the Cross children. Ms. Wildman is with us for the department. Ms. Wiggins is with us representing the children. Mr. Sain is with us representing the mother, Ms. Fur, who is with us, and Ms. Naranjo is with us representing the father, Mr. Cross. I show he's incarcerated. Ms. Naranjo, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, but I'm not sure if that number that dialed in is him or not.
Yeah.
Dustin Cross.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cross. All right, Mr. Cross has also joined us.
And Judge, if I could speak with Mr. Cross very briefly in a breakout room.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Flores, how are you currently employed?
I am an investigator for the Department of Family and Protective Services.
And are you familiar with the Cross family, which includes Dustin Cross and Patricia Fur and their children, Avery and Natalie?
Yes, I am.
When did you first become involved with the family?
The department received an intake on October 13th of 2024.
And what was the nature of that intake?
The intake indicated that there had been an incident of domestic violence between Ms. Fur and Mr. Cross.
Now, prior to this intake, had the department been involved with the family?
Yes, the department had previously been involved with the family for domestic violence and drug use as well.
And prior to this incident, when was the last time the department had been involved?
We had recently closed an FBSS case in March of 2024, so it's about 7 months prior.
Okay. And was domestic violence one of the issues in that case?
Yes, it was.
And it was domestic violence involving Ms. Fur and Dustin Cross?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. And did that close out successfully?
The FBSS case was closed out successfully with Ms. Fur. Mr. Cross did not complete any services.
And were there any expectations or safety plans put in place at that time regarding any future contact with Mr. Cross?
Ms. Fur and her child at the time, because I believe her second child was not born yet, were supposed to remain residing with her uncle or her father, with family members, and they were not supposed to have any contact with Mr. Cross.
And so when you became involved in October of 2024, did you attempt to locate Ms. Fur?
Yes, I did.
And where did you first try to find her?
My intake had indicated she had gone to the hospital, so I tried to locate her there.
Were you able to later contact her?
And she was no longer there, so I was able to get a hold of her by phone, and she told me she was in Muleshoe, Texas.
And did she say who she was living with?
She indicated she was living with her mother, Debbie Fur, I believe.
Okay. And so did you then at any point try to make contact with Mr. Cross?
Yes, I did discover that Mr. Cross had remained incarcerated at Potter County Jail, and I made contact with him there.
Okay. And was he willing to talk to you?
Yes, he was.
And did you go over his rights and everything before you started talking with him?
Yes, I did.
Did you discuss with him his prior CPS history?
I did.
And what was his understanding of why CPS had gotten involved with him and the family previously?
His understanding was that we had become involved due to drug use and domestic violence.
Okay. And what if anything, did he tell you about his drug use?
He indicated that he was an addict, that methamphetamine was his drug of choice.
Okay. And did you talk at all about his previous criminal history?
I did. He did not really want to discuss it completely. He just mentioned he had been incarcerated or imprisoned for an ag assault with a deadly weapon.
Okay. Did he say about when that had happened?
I believe he did tell me, but I do not recall.
Okay. Did he indicate that he'd gone to prison?
Yes, he indicated he had been to prison.
All right. And related to that case?
In relation to that case, yes.
Would it help if you refresh your recollection by looking at your removal affidavit, specifically at the end of page 3?
Yes, let me see. He was arrested in 2010 for that offense, and he believed he was released from prison in either 2018 or 2019.
Thank you. And Judge, this is going to be kind of out of order, but at this time the department would admit what's been marked as petitioner's exhibits number 8A and 8B. Those are certified copies of an indictment and judgment related to the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charge that was disclosed to Mr. Flores by Mr. Cross. They are, let me see, they are both out of Potter County in cause number 61649E.
All right, objections?
Your Honor, I would object to these charges being over 10 years old.
All right. I'll
Judge,
sustain that.
And
I'll sus-
Judge, I think they're still relevant if I could respond as far as his criminal history going towards the E ground for termination. His sentence was in the actual judgment adjudicating guilt was 2 prison time, and he was sentenced in 2013. It would have been 8 years. So I believe it's not so much as far as when the judgment went in, but release from prison. So the maximum sentence would have put that early 2020s. So that would still be within the 10 years.
Your Honor, if I may, it still requires for grounds of termination to have been within 2 years. So still it would not be relevant.
Well,
And I'm
she's
not
saying-
doing it for the ground of Q, or it's now P, Judge. I'm doing it for the ground of E to show criminal history as related to engaging in activity, and that's going to become relevant as part of his history, as the case law recently established criminal history, and in specifically the types of offenses and the I guess escalation or consistency in violent offenses can be considered as part of E under let me find the case, Judge, and I can send that if we need to, but it's going to be in the interest of NLS, where they made the determination that endangerment findings generally follow similar kind of evaluation as drug use when it comes to E, even if it doesn't directly involve the children. Criminal history can be used as a ground for termination. And that would be the purpose that we would be submitting it.
I'm going to overrule it. A and B will 8A and 8A and 8B will be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Now, Mr. Flores, did you have the opportunity to talk with Mr. Cross a little bit about the incident that had occurred that had led him to being in custody?
Yes, we did discuss the incident.
Now, at that point, did he indicate that he had been using any sort of narcotic?
He indicated to me that he had been using methamphetamine, and up to 10 minutes prior to his arrest on that evening.
Okay. And when he
Can I get a clarification on what evening? What was the date of this?
I was about to ask, Judge. And so let me clarify, Mr. Flores. When he said 10 minutes before his arrest, did he mean the arrest for the incident that you had been called out for?
Yes, that is correct.
And so, from your understanding, he had used 10 minutes prior to his arrest on the date of offense.
Correct.
I'm asking for the date of offense.
Do you know the specific date of offense, Mr. Flores?
No, Your Honor, but the date of my intake would have been October 13th.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
And is it, just to help with the timeline, did you talk with Mr. Cross on October 16th?
Correct.
All right. And so when you asked about the domestic violence incident, what did Dustin say happened?
He indicated that he had became upset with Miss Patricia Fur. He did not want to discuss why he became upset with her, but then he did admit that he struck her approximately 4 times, and that
Did,
when one of his children woke up is when he stopped the assault.
so from his statement, he indicated that the children were present, correct?
Correct. It was yes.
Did he specify which child had woken up that you recall?
He did. Let me.
If it would help to refresh your recollection, if you want to take a moment to do that.
Thank you. He indicated Avery woke up.
Okay. And what did he say about Natalie?
That Natalie had remained asleep in her place in the room in the hotel room.
Okay. And did he say what, I guess, Patricia did after that?
He said that she sat on the edge of the bed or on the bed, just kind of dumbfounded over the incident.
Okay. Now, did you ask Mr. Cross about any other means of assault that you had been informed of previously? Let me ask a better question. Did you ask him about other possible ways he may have assaulted Patricia?
I do not recall.
Again, if you want to take a moment to refresh your recollection with your affidavit.
Thank you. What he mentioned to me that I recall is that his drug use is what was causing the issues in their relationship.
Okay. Now, as far as your conversation with Dustin, was there anything else that he had stated that caused you concern?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. May you repeat the question, please?
Was there anything else in your conversation with Mr. Cross that caused you concern?
His history of the drug use, he also indicated that whenever I spoke with him about alcohol, he said that he doesn't drink alcohol because he knows that he would not be able to refrain from excessive drinking.
And did all those things cause you concern about the children being in his care?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, at this point, had the department started looking into pursuing removing the children yet?
No.
Were the children able to be placed in a safe location with Patricia Fur at this point?
Yes.
And what was the, I guess, expectation of where Patricia and the children would be?
Patricia had already relocated and was residing with her mother, Miss Debbie Fur, in Muleshoe, Texas, which was another city, and Dustin remained incarcerated.
Okay. And as part of her staying there, was there a safety plan?
A safety plan was implemented, requiring that she reside with her children away from the danger, which would be Mr. Dustin Cross, and that Miss Debbie, maternal grandmother, would monitor compliance with that safety plan.
Okay. And as part of those as part of the, I guess, removal concerns, did Miss Fur agree to drug test?
Yes, she did agree to drug screen for the department.
And do you recall if she completed that?
She did.
All right. And were those results negative?
She was negative in both a hair strand and a urinalysis.
Okay. So at that point, were options such as another family-based plan still a possibility?
That was a possibility, yes.
All right. So what ended up happening that caused the department to have renewed concerns?
We discovered that Miss Fur, Patricia, had relocated and moved back to Amarillo, and had not notified the department. It had been several days since her move, and Miss Debbie Fur had not relayed that information to the department either. Therefore,
And why
they
would,
broke the safety plan.
so they broke the safety plan, correct?
Right.
So, and why was that
I
a cause for
didn't catch-
concern?
Sam, I didn't catch the end of his answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. And
I just think that
just-
resulted in Miss Patricia for breaking the safety plan.
And so at that point, I mean, why was that a concern?
It was a concern because Miss Patricia Fur was back in Amarillo and closer to Dustin, where he would have access to the children.
Was it concerning that, was part of that concern that after the last family-based safety services plan, or I guess completion of that program, she had still gone back to Mr. Cross?
Correct. So the additional concern was that she had been residing with family members at the close of that case, and she actually snuck out of that home so that she could reunify with Dustin.
Okay. And so, as far as Dustin at that, and so is it fair to say this was happening sort of at the end of October of 2024?
Yes.
And do you know if Mr. Cross was still in custody at that point?
I believe Mr. Cross, when Patricia first relocated and I was able to relocate her, I believe Mr. Cross was still incarcerated at the time.
And so, but when she went back to Amarillo, did you know yet whether or not Mr. Cross was in custody still?
When she moved back to Amarillo, I believe Mr. Cross was still incarcerated at the time.
Okay. And
When she
so
first moved to Amarillo. Sorry.
when she first moved back,
Correct.
were you able to locate her initially after finding out she had moved back?
It took some time. The information we received was that she was residing with her brother Matthew and then we were advised by Matthew himself that he did not know where she was residing. Then I ultimately was able to get in contact with Miss Patricia, who did confirm she was residing with Matthew, and then provided me an address.
Were you able to see her and the children?
I was able to make contact with Patricia and the children, I believe, at the beginning of November. I believe November 1st.
Okay. And then did you talk with Patricia about doing a family team meeting to kind of come up with a plan for the children's safety?
Yes, I spoke with Miss Fur regarding a family team meeting. She asked me what kinds of services she would be requested to work, and I asked her to meet us in a family team meeting so that we could discuss that as a group.
Okay. And at that point, if she was cooperating, would you have been able to talk to, I guess, discuss some of those other options with her?
Yes, the plan was to speak to to Miss Fur during the family meeting about options and services.
And did Miss Fur ever actually appear for a family team meeting?
Later, the same day that I spoke to Miss Fur and she agreed to the family team meeting, I was notified that when she was contacted about the family team meeting, she declined to participate in a family team meeting.
Without her participation, would any of the options, such as a family-based safety case, any sort of PCSP, TFF, or anything like that have been possible?
It would not have been possible because those are voluntary services.
And so, as far as communication, did you have any other communication with her after she declined that?
No.
Do you know when the department first became aware that Mr. Cross had bonded out of jail?
I believe it was November 4th when I was advised that Mr. Cross had bonded out of jail.
And was November 1st the last time you had talked to Ms. Fur?
November 1st was the last time I spoke with Ms. Fur.
So what kind of concerns did the department have now with her refusal to cooperate and Mr. Cross being released from jail, if any?
The concern we had was that they would be reuniting and that Mr. Cross would have access to the vulnerable AIDS children.
All right. And so at that point, is that when the department began to seek removal of the children?
Correct.
Based on the history and what you had determined from speaking with the parents, did you believe that the children were at risk of physical and emotional abuse if they remained with the parents?
Yes.
And do you believe that there was no time consistent with the circumstances to have an adversary hearing before they would be removed?
Correct.
Now, when the children were, once the department was granted temporary managing and survivorship of the children, were you able to locate them?
Locate who?
Locate the children.
Yes.
Okay. And do you know where they were at that time?
Yes.
Where were they?
They were in Miss Fur's at the same place where I made contact with them when they came back to Amarillo at Miss Fur's brother's residence.
Okay. Initially, where were the children placed?
The children were initially placed with Miss Fur's great uncle, I believe.
Okay, and I mean, generally when looking at placement, does the department try to place with kinship?
Yes.
What happened with that placement that it was not able to be long-term?
The great uncle indicated or called me and indicated he was no longer going to be able to keep the children as he had received a eviction notice.
Okay, and at that point, were the children placed in foster care?
Yes.
Do you know who they were placed with?
I do not recall.
Okay. Were you able to again meet with Miss Fur after the removal on November 6th?
Yes.
After the removal of the children, was she more communicative?
Yes.
What did she indicate that she was interested in working services?
She demonstrated that she was eager to begin her services and do what she needed to do to reunify with her children.
And was she able to get you a number to have a contact with Dustin?
She was able to provide me a phone number that I could have to contact Dustin, yes.
All right. And was Patricia able to have her initial visitation with the children on November 7th of 2024?
She did.
All right. And so, were you able to make contact with Dustin?
Eventually, yes, I was able to, yes.
All right. And did you set up a time to meet with him?
I did. We set up several times because he was unable to make the times, but yes, we were able to meet.
Okay. And if you would, were you ever actually able to meet with him, or did you set up multiple attempts to meet with him? And if you need to refresh your recollection looking at your investigative report on page 2.
So regarding the investigation report, up to that point, whenever the investigation report was submitted, I had not been able to make contact with them.
Okay, and so were you able to make contact with him after November 13th of 2024?
I was able to make contact with him on November the 15th of 2024.
Gotcha. And what was his response to working services?
He indicated that he was willing to work services as well. He had also indicated to me at that point that it was Matthew Fur who had bonded him out of jail, who happens to be Miss Patricia Fur's brother that she was living with.
Okay. And so did that cause any concern for the department?
Yes, it did.
And why was that concerning?
It appeared to me that Patricia was trying to get Dustin out of jail so that they can reunite.
Even if Patricia was not the one that had facilitated that, would it still be concerning for you that her family was bonding Mr. Cross out?
Absolutely, because that's the family that she was actually residing with at the time.
Okay. Now, ultimately, was the department named temporary managing conservator of the children at an adversary hearing?
Yes.
And if you recall, at that point, was it actually an agreed hearing?
Yes. What I remember is that Patricia was in agreement and Dustin was not opposing.
Okay. And do you recall also at that court hearing, I believe that was the court hearing where Mr. Cross also asked to be adjudicated for the children, correct? Or as father of the children?
Yes.
And Judge, just for the purpose of paternity, we would ask that you take judicial notice of the adjudication or the order adjudicating Mr. Cross as the father of both children which was signed on, I believe, December 2nd of 2024.
Right, so noted.
And then, Judge, if you just take judicial notice that the unknown father initially pled in was non-suited on 12/11 of 2024.
So noted.
Thank you, Judge. Now, just to backtrack real quick, Mr. Flores, the efforts that you made to hold that family team meeting and do you believe that was a reasonable effort to attempt to avoid removal in this case?
I do believe.
Do you believe that the family safety plan placing the mother and the children, or not placing, but having the mother and children reside with Miss Fur and Muleshoe was a reasonable effort to avoid removal in this case?
I do.
Do you believe that you and the department made as many reasonable efforts as possible to avoid this removal?
Yes, I do.
And I believe you'd already testified that none of the other possibilities as far as working services in the home were available due to Miss Fur's lack of communication, correct?
Correct.
Judge, the department would move to admit petitioner's exhibit number 3, which is a certified copy of the adversary hearing order. It is certified by the Randall County clerk and would be a self-authenticating document.
All right, objections? All right,
No
petition 3 is admitted.
All right. I will pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Flores, I just, to be sure I'm clear on it. When Mr. Cross was incarcerated at the end of October, 1st of November, first part of November, he was incarcerated for the assault on mother that you previously testified to?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Mr. Saint.
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Naranjo?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Flores, during any of your contact with Mr. Cross, did he mention any family members to be considered for placement?
No, he indicated that he had family in Twilio that was not communicating with him, and so they were not much of a support system.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Wiggins?
I have no question, Judge.
All right, anything further of Mr. Flores?
No, Judge.
May he be excused?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Flores, I'll go ahead and remove you so you can go about your afternoon's business. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Weldon, next witness.
Officer Ligon should be joining the Zoom now. Have you seen him yet?
No, he hadn't been in yet.
All right, if we give him one moment, he was just on the phone with us, so he's probably looking for the link.
Okay,
Judge, do we still have Chris Quinton in the waiting room?
we do.
If Officer Ligon hasn't logged on yet, I think as long as we're okay taking this a little bit narratively out of order, we could call him next.
Okay, let's do that. Mr. Quinton, this is Judge Graham. Would you unmute, please? Can you?
Sorry about that.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. If you'd raise your right hand, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Wildman.
Judge, before I get started, can we have Aaron Tendle brought in? I realize I have the wrong Aaron in right now.
Okay. All right. Ms. Tendle has joined us.
Thank you, Judge. And Officer Quinton, how are you currently employed?
With Tolia Police Department.
And is officer the best way to refer to you?
I'm an assistant chief now.
Okay, well, Assistant Chief Quinton, how long have you been with the Tulia Police Department?
10 years.
All right, and were you employed with the Tulia Police Department then back on December 19th of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that point, were you still a sergeant with the department?
At that time, yes, I was.
And what were your, I guess, basic duties under that assignment?
Just as a sergeant, just make sure the patrol guys got the, proper stuff. Make sure, pretty much just check on them and policy stuff.
Were you still responding to calls at that point?
Yes, as a sergeant, yes, I was still covering patrol shifts and helping out with calls.
Do you recall getting dispatched out on a call involving a Patricia Fur?
Yes.
And that was on that December 19th of 2024 date, correct?
Yes.
What was the nature of the call as it was relayed to you?
It came in as a kidnapping. And the Patricia was at Allsup's 29, which is the North Allsup's in Tolia.
And were you able to locate her there at that Allsup's?
Yes, ma'am.
And so when you met with Patricia, what did she tell you had happened?
She said that her, I guess, ex or husband, Dustin, and his sister, Amber, had locked her in the bathroom and wouldn't let her leave.
Do you recall if they did anything else, threatened her or anything like that?
I believe Amber had threatened her, had made some threats towards her.
Did Patricia say anything about them preventing her from calling for help?
Not that I remember.
Okay. And did Patricia say how she was able to finally leave that situation?
She pretended like she was taking the trash out and then went to Allsup's.
Okay. And from your understanding, is that how she called police?
Yes, from the store.
All right. And so, did she talk to you about a previous assault that Dustin had committed against her?
Yes, she says she was assaulted in Amarillo. I think that time during that time, and he was arrested, and then there was a protective order issued against him.
Did she indicate anything about CPS being involved?
Yes, they had kids were removed since they had failed the drug test.
And that's what Patricia had told you?
Yes, I believe. I have to double check. I can't.
Did she say anything about whether or not she was supposed to be around Dustin?
With the protective order, they weren't supposed to be around each other, or he wasn't supposed to.
Okay. Did she say how she ended up coming into contact with him I guess, in Tulia?
I guess there was a family member, Samantha, had picked them both up and brought them to Tolia, or just picked Samantha up and brought her to Tolia.
Were you able to get a straight answer from anybody about exactly how they had all gotten to Tulia?
No.
But were you able to, I guess Patricia did confirm that she had contact with Dustin and Amber, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did she say, I guess, was Dustin supposed to be with her where they were at?
No, he wasn't supposed to be there. I believe it was supposed to be just Patricia.
Did she say how she thought Dustin had found her?
Through the Google tracking on
Okay.
I guess she believed that he was tracking her phone through the Google app.
All right. And so, did she clarify at any point, I guess, when she says he got to that house?
Like how he got to the house?
Or how, I guess, let me rephrase. Did she clarify at any point how long he had been in the home with her or in contact with her in Tulia?
Maybe a few days.
Okay. And then, did she say anything about how or why the incident had escalated that day?
There's her account is, I guess they were arguing and I guess they put her in the room, started calling her names, locked her in the bathroom, and prevent her from trying to leave the house.
Okay. Now, did you end up making contact with Dustin at any point?
Yes.
All right, and where did you meet with Dustin?
At Amber Kelly's, his sister's house.
Okay.
Mobile home.
And is that where Patricia had indicated the assault had happened?
Yes.
Now,
A kidnapping. That's where she said she was kidnapped.
Yeah, let's clarify. I didn't.
Oh,
I
sorry,
agree.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Let's not call it an assault.
All right, so is that where the, I guess, the contact or the kidnapping report had allegedly occurred?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you got to that address, did you immediately go in?
No, I was at the threshold of the door and I could see, asked Amber if Dustin was there. But through the crack of the door, I could see someone standing there. So I asked like, who's behind the door? And she was kind of being vague. And I said, I know Dustin's behind the door. And then finally he stepped out.
Was that concerning to have somebody behind the door?
Yes, it's odd. It's usually they know they messed up and they're trying to hide. It's just kind of suspicious.
Is there also an officer safety concern?
Yes, big time.
Now, ultimately, were you able to make contact with Dustin?
Yes. All
right, and so when did Dustin say he had gotten to Amber's house?
I believe he said, I have to look at my notes real quick.
If it would help you to refresh your recollection.
I believe he said that Amber had called him the 18th of December and then he got there.
All right, and so as far as Dustin's, I guess, explanation of what had happened, what did he say happened at the house that day?
He said Amber had gotten on to Patricia for not helping clean. Started yelling at her. And so she locked herself in the bathroom, wouldn't come out. And then I guess she said she was gonna take the trash out and then she walked off. That's the first story he had told me.
Okay, and what was the next story?
After he was arrested, I went to the jail, Randized him, talked to him, and he said he believes part of it was that Patricia getting upset was he got caught FaceTiming another girl at the house, and they got in an argument, and he started telling her, "Hey, we need to separate, go our own ways," and that's when she got upset, went in the bathroom, wouldn't come out.
Okay. So ultimately, did he deny any sort of kidnapping?
Yes, he said that they'd been there for some days, maybe a week, and they both got there and everything was good up until he got caught FaceTiming another girl.
And so, to be clear, no charges were ever filed in relation to kidnapping or unlawful restraint or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
But was he ultimately arrested for the protective order violation?
Yes, ma'am.
And let me ask you, what county is Tulia in?
Swisher.
All right, and so give me one moment. Sorry, Judge, I'm trying to get my exhibits in order since we went a little bit out of order here. All right, and so December 19th of 2024 was the day you responded to that call, correct?
Yes.
And did you end up having to go to trial on this case?
No.
Were you aware that there was a plea in this case and it was resolved?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Judge, I would move to admit Exhibit 4, which is a certified copy of a judgment of conviction from Swisher County in cause number 17658, specifically for violation of a protective order with the date of offense 12/19 of 2024. Again, we would admit that as a self-authenticating document, as it is that certified copy from Swisher County, certified
Objection?
by their county and district clerk. Sorry.
No objection.
Then petitioner's 4 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge. I will pass the witness.
All right, give me just a second here to get out of this. Chief Quinton, did Miss Fur tell you at that time, at the time of when she says she was locked in the bathroom, did she say whether or not the children were present?
No, not that I can recall. If
Okay.
Present.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Saint, questions?
No, Your Honor, and just in case it wasn't said before, Ms. Fur has signed an affidavit of relinquishment.
I'm
that's
aware of
fine.
that. Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
Ms. Naranjo, questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Wiggins.
No question, Judge.
All right, can Chief Quinton be released?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, Chief Quinton, thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service. I'll remove you so you can go about your afternoon's business.
All right, y'all take care.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, you want Chester Ligon yet?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Is he an officer?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Officer Ligon, this is Judge Graham. If you could unmute. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. If you'd raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you, Miss Weldon. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Ligon, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the Amarillo Police Department on midnight patrol.
Or does that make you a licensed peace officer in the state of Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been with the police department?
Just under 3 years.
All right, and so does that have you working for the police department back on October 13th of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were your duties then?
My duties is I was a midnight patrol officer on Amarillo Beat 36, which is the north side of Amarillo.
Okay. And do you recall responding or being dispatched out on a call related to a Patricia Fur?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what was your understanding of the type of call that you were responding to?
I do not recall what type of call I was responding to. At the point when I had been sent to this, it was an extremely busy night, and I remember it having waited for over 2 hours, and she was now at the hospital, and she had changed from my side of town on the north side to the BSA hospital.
Were you able to locate her at the BSA hospital?
Yes, ma'am. She was in one of the ER rooms in the BSA ER.
Okay. Now, do you recall? Let's see. And so when you met with her, what sort of state was she in?
She was already being taken care of by the ER staff and had been for some time. So a lot of what had happened, I believe, had already been cleaned up on her. But I do recall her having some redness on her neck. Her front tooth was missing, which was the biggest thing. And then she had some bruising. Other than that, she had already been in the care of BSA for over an hour at that point, I believe.
So even after being in their care, those were the visible injuries you were still able to see, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so did you have the opportunity to talk to Patricia about what had happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And so what did she say had happened that caused her to come to the hospital?
She said she was at the Wagon Wheel, which is a hotel on the north side of town. She said that she found what she believed was a used condom in their hotel room trash can. She said that whenever she found that, she essentially blamed Dustin for cheating on her. When she did so, they started to argue. When the argument got out of hand, he punched her in the face approximately 7 times, then choked her for some time, and headbutted her.
When she was choked, did you ask her if she had lost consciousness?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Would it help to refresh your recollection and look at page 19 of your incident report?
Yes, ma'am. So she said that she felt like the choking lasted for about 5 minutes and that she did lose consciousness. She felt like she did lose consciousness.
Okay. Was she able to? Now you weren't at the hotel talking when you were talking to her, correct?
No, ma'am. We were in the ER room.
Was she able to help you sort of get an idea about where Dustin may be?
Her aunt was on scene.
Okay.
Kendra.
Do you recall? Let me ask a clarifying question for you. Do you recall talking to her about something to do with her phone?
Yes, so she had her phone, and I believe, I don't recall the exact reason behind this, but either her or her aunt were able to track his location, I believe.
Okay. And ultimately, was she able to help sort of set up a meeting for officers to locate him?
Yes, ma'am. So she had, we were able to see his location, and then at some point he had texted her that he wanted to go to Walmart. And at this point, I had already had Southside officers and my supervisor looking for her or for him while I was speaking to her. And so we kind of set up that meeting, and officers were able to go meet him at the Quinton I-40 in Grand, where he was waiting to go to Walmart ultimately.
Okay. Now, when you met with Patricia, did you complete with her the intimate partner violence case supplement?
I did. I do not recall. I believe I went over to meet officers once they had Dustin in their custody. I believe that I started it with her. I went to go meet officers, and then after that had been completed, I came back and finished it with her.
Okay, gotcha. So you did complete the full
Yes.
document with her, correct? Do you have the version in front of you that was marked Exhibit 1?
Is that the IPV packet?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And other than on page 3 and page 5, where personal information and victim safe contact information have been redacted, is that the form that you completed with her?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and tell me a little bit about the intimate partner violence case supplement and sort of what APD uses that for.
The intimate partner violence packets essentially used for First, as an affidavit, as all victims in crimes they get their chance to tell the side of the story. It's her chance to say, I am the victim of, in this case, Dustin. He is my husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the situation is. And then I can go to the next page, and that would be where I check some boxes saying if she was bleeding, if her clothing was disorderly, mark where injuries she has. I go through, you're able to go through a history of violence between the pair. Then there's a specific page that pertains to when a victim is choked. Also, when if he has any injuries, there's an area for the children that they have or that may have witnessed the event. So it's essentially just telling the entire story of what happened in greater detail than a normal affidavit would get you.
So the information that's included when you're going through the packet, does that come from the victim?
Yes, ma'am. It comes from the victim. After the affidavit portion of it's complete, I write down what she tells me.
All right, and as far as the statement that was, I guess, provided there in the intimate partner packet, was that similar to the statement she'd given you at the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as kind of going through, did you ask her about past incidents that had occurred?
Yes, ma'am.
And what had she told you about past incidents?
Sorry, I cannot speak. She had said that the past incident that happened on November 23rd, I'm not sure of what year, in Lubbock, where he had punched her in the stomach, she told me, while she was pregnant. Lubbock PD had responded to this and it had already been reported on.
Okay, and was it Lubbock PD that she said had reported to that or responded to that?
Yes, ma'am.
And then was there another question? I guess, did she indicate another incident that had happened that day related to the children?
He said that he was gonna kill them and take Avery. I do not recall the parameters for the full story on that, but
okay. And when you were talking to her about this particular incident, did she indicate that the children were present for the assault that had occurred that day?
I recall her indicating that Avery was present.
Okay. And at the time, did she indicate anything about whether or not she believed she was pregnant?
She told me she believed she was 4 weeks pregnant, and there was a test taken at some point along the line, and I was advised that she was not.
Okay. But at the time that she filled out that packet, did she believe that she was?
Yes, ma'am.
And did she believe did she indicate whether or not she believed that Mr. Cross knew that?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did she fill out the strangulation supplement with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And just kind of, what are some of the questions that you ask on that?
Essentially how the choking happened, where the choking happened, how long she believed it lasts. Did she know what was happening? What was the look on his face during it? If there's any gaps in her memories. If she was shaken or if her head had anything during the choking.
Okay. Did she indicate whether or not Mr. Cross had said anything while he was strangling her?
She told me that he said he was going to kill her.
And what did she say about, if anything, about his demeanor and facial expressions?
Just that he was angry.
Okay. Did she indicate whether or not she tried to stop him?
I don't recall.
Okay. That's all right. But let's see, and then did she fill out the danger assessment with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have that in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she indicate that she had left him, or that she had left him at some point in the past year?
She said yes.
Did she indicate whether or not she felt he controlled all of or most of her daily activities?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she provide an answer to the question, has he or she tried to kill you?
Yes, ma'am.
How did she respond to that?
Yes.
Did she indicate whether, I guess, how did she respond to, has he threatened to kill you?
She told me yes.
All right. And what did she indicate as far as whether or not he had ever tried to strangle her and how many times?
She said yes to strangle and then yes to multiple times.
Did she indicate whether or not she believed that he was capable of killing her?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And so, let's see. Now, did you have any contact with Dustin that evening?
I had driven to the Toot Totem to meet other officers, where an officer had already had him in the back of the car and was conducting a Mirandized interview, and I did not interact with him at that point or at any point.
Okay. Did you see if he had any injuries?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he have any injuries?
If you allow me to refer back.
Sure. That'll help you refresh your recollection.
I did not see any injuries at that time.
And at that time, I guess, was it your understanding that he was already under arrest for the domestic violence incident?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what did you do for Patricia after you had gone out there?
I returned back to her. I completed the IPV packets. I took photographs of her injuries, and I advised her of our domestic violence shelter, which I believe, if I remember correctly, she did not take at that time.
Okay. Did you get any of her things for her from Dustin or from the motel?
I never went back to the motel.
Okay.
I do not know anything from her from Dustin.
That's all right. And so did that kind of end your involvement in the investigation?
Excuse me?
Did that effectively end your involvement in the investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Judge, at this time, the department would move to, give me one moment, to admit petitioner's exhibits 2A and 2B. Those are going to be the indictment and the judgment of conviction for state versus Dustin Cross, the offense being assault family or household member with previous conviction. Those are, the cause number is 86695-E-CR. This was from the 47th District Court in Potter County. Both documents are certified copies, certified by the district clerk in Potter County, so they would be self-authenticating documents. We would ask that those be admitted at this time.
All right, objections?
No objection.
All right, 2A and 2B are admitted.
Thank you, Judge. And then we would ask that you take judicial notice that in Exhibit 2B, that the offense date is October 13th of 2024, and that the sentence date issued on April 17th of 2025 was for 3 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
So noted.
And then on Exhibit 2A, we just ask that you take notice that the named victim in the case is Patricia Fur.
So noted.
And Judge, I will pass the witness.
All right. Officer Ligon, on this assault on October 13th and talking to Miss Fur, did she indicate the children were present during the assault?
She indicated that Avery was present during the assault. I do not recall.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
She indicated that Avery was present. I do not recall the whereabouts of Natalie.
Okay, but at least one of the children was present according to mom.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Saint, questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Naranjo,
No questions.
Ms. Wiggins.
I have no question, Judge.
All right, then if no one has anything further for Officer Ligon, can he be excused?
No objection.
Yes, Judge.
All right, Officer Ligon, thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service. I'll remove you so you can go about your afternoon's business.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Relvin, next witness.
Yes, Judge. Give me one moment so I can. I think I'm back in order. But give me one moment to make sure. Do you have a Ricky Gatis in the waiting room, Judge?
I do.
All right. Can we bring him in?
Okay. Is he an officer?
He is an officer, Judge, and I believe that he is also is under subpoena for one of the district courts, so I'm hoping we can get through with him pretty quick.
I'm hoping so too. Officer Gaddis, if you'd unmute, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. If you raise your right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Wildman, you may proceed. It sounds like there's a little bit of a lag, so give him time to hear your question and answer.
Yes, Judge. Officer Gaddis, how are you currently employed?
Employed with the Emerald Police Department.
How long have you been with them?
About 15 years.
All right, and what is your current assignment?
I'm a corporal in the patrol division.
All right, and were you working in that same, I guess, position back in January of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall being dispatched out on January 3rd of 2025 for a call involving a Patricia Fur?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And do you recall what the nature of that dispatch was?
It was for a harassment is what the dispatch call was for.
Were you able to meet with Miss Fur?
Yes, I was able to contact her, and she began to tell me that that her child's father had contacted her on Facebook Messenger and stated that he was going to come get his things and kill her.
Who did she identify as her child's father?
Dustin Cross.
And did she indicate how, I guess, that made her feel?
She said that she was scared for her life of Mr. Cross.
Did she show you messages from Mr. Cross?
Yes, she did allow me to look at her Facebook Messenger with her thread with Mr. Cross, where I observed multiple messages to and also from Miss Fur to Mr. Cross.
And were you able to confirm the threats?
With that, I believe I couldn't really see anything. Let me double check here real quick.
And if it would help you to read or to refresh your recollection with your incident report, just let us know, please, once you completed that.
By my report, no, I don't believe I did see any threatening messages.
Okay. Now, in your report, had she said if he called her on Facebook Messenger?
No.
Okay. So what sort of messages did you observe?
So I observed multiple messages that also, included Miss Fur telling him that she was trying to get a job where she could get a motel room so they would have a place to be together. Also, other messages from Miss Fur stating that she wanted to talk to him.
Were you made aware either through the messages or from Miss Fur that there was a protective order at that time?
Believe I had ran both Mr. Cross and Miss Fur and found that there was an active protective order.
Okay. And once you had, did you give Miss Fur the opportunity to do an affidavit?
Yes, I did. I asked her if she'd fill out an affidavit about what she was saying happened. She first stated yes, but then as I gave her the affidavit, she refused to fill it out.
Okay. And did you end up making a report in this case?
Yes. Yes, I did. Just for the violation of the protective order for the contact going on between.
All right. Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Thank,
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Ronho.
Officer Gatis, do you know what was the result of that charge for the violation of protective order?
No, ma'am, I don't.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Swiggins.
No questions.
All right, can Corporal Gatis be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Corporal Gatis, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your service. I'll remove you so you can go about your afternoon's business.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
All right, Ms. Rodman.
Let me double check, Judge, but I think we would, all right, the department's gonna call Aaron Tendle next.
Okay. Ms. Tindall, if you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wildman.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Tindall, how are you currently employed?
I am currently employed with St. Francis Ministries.
And what do you do for them?
I am currently a placement coordinator. I was previously a permanency specialist.
And were you the permanency specialist who was assigned to the case that involved Avery and Natalie Cross and their family?
Yes, I was.
How long were you assigned to that case?
From November of 2024 until the end of September of this year.
Okay. So is it fair to say that you were the caseworker pretty much for the majority of this case?
Yes.
All right. And let's kind of, I guess, walk through sort of from the beginning. At the beginning of the case, were you able to make contact with the parents?
I was able to make contact with Patricia fairly easily from the beginning of the case. I was not ever able to make contact really with Dustin. I believe we had a couple of text messages before he was then incarcerated in Swisher County.
All right. And so at the beginning of the case, was Patricia fairly communicative and responsive?
Yes.
And as part of your contact with her, did you discuss sort of what the plans might be as far as services?
Yes.
Did you work with her to create her service plan?
Yes, we did.
And what are some of the services that were part of her service plan?
She had to complete counseling, a psychosocial or a psychological, I believe. She also had to do domestic violence support group, domestic violence services. She had to take a parenting class as well.
And sort of what was the purpose of having her do those the domestic violence courses? What were those geared towards?
Since the reason for removal of the children was exposure to the domestic violence between her and Dustin, we did have that service in there added for her as the victim of
Okay.
that domestic violence. So
Okay, and so is that narrowly tailored to the domestic violence issue?
yes,
And was it the hope of the department that the other services would help her to create a safe home for the children so that they could return to her?
yes.
Now, as far as the service plan goes, did you go over all of those services with her?
Yes, we did.
And was she in agreement in completing everything?
Yes, she was.
All right, so as far as Mr. Cross, was he, by the time that you were developing the family plan of service, were you able to get in touch with him?
I was not.
Okay. And was he able to necessarily be a part of that service plan?
He was not
Or
at
did-
that time. Not developing it. Correct.
Not that was the clarifying question I would ask. So he wasn't necessarily involved in developing it, correct?
That is correct.
What sort of services were you asking that he complete?
Basically the same to address the issues. We did ask for counseling, individual counseling, a psychological evaluation, a parenting class, and then also that he do a batter's intervention, prevention and protection program. I think I said that right.
Now-
Basically the BIP program, sorry.
Okay. And were these service plans filed and incorporated as part of the, and made a court order in the status hearing? Or
Yes,
at the
they were.
status hearing?
Yes, they
All
were.
right. And Judge, the department would move to admit petitioner's exhibit number 5, which is a certified copy of the status hearing order from December 2024 that includes the family plans of service for both parents under attachment A. Those are, again, certified copies, certified by the district clerk from Randall County.
All right, objections? All right, petitioners 5 submitted.
Thank you, Judge. Now, at some point, were you able to meet with Mr. Cross and go over the service plan with him?
Yes, I believe in January, I was able to meet with him in the Castro County Jail in Demet, face to face, and we went over his service plan in person.
And was he able to, do you know if you gave him a copy of it at that time?
I don't recall if I was able to give him a copy of it because he was in the jail. I don't recall if he was able to take the actual papers with him at that moment.
Gotcha. But you were able to go over all the services with him?
Yes.
And as far as services go, did you talk to him about being able to complete services while in jail?
Yes, we did have the conversation that we would work with whatever facility he ended up being at. He did tell me at that time he was only supposed to be in Castro County, which was for Swisher County. He was only supposed to be there for 60 to 180 days, and then he would have been moved to Potter County, which he was. So I said wherever he ended up for a longer term at is we would work with that facility to see what services we could get done while he was incarcerated.
Okay. And so what was his, I guess, demeanor or level of cooperation as far as working services at that point?
He was very emotional just being incarcerated, period. He kept saying he didn't know what he wanted to do. He didn't know if he wanted to be out of the children's life because of, being incarcerated and all of that. He was just kind of going back and forth, but he did state that he would work whatever services that he could while he was in the facility.
Okay. And do you believe that going over that family plan of service and developing that for him was a reasonable effort as far as trying to reunify the children with him at some point?
Yes, I do.
Now, let's see. In the status hearing order, was it ordered that Mr. Cross not have any contact with Miss Fur or the children at that time?
Yes, it was.
And was the reason for that the concerns about the domestic violence?
Yes, I believe so.
And so, do you recall, I guess, throughout the case, were Mr. Cross and Miss Fur not supposed to have contact with one another?
That is correct.
Okay. And so, as far as placement of the children at the beginning of the case, do you recall where they were placed initially?
They were initially placed with her uncle, Eddie Fur, and then he had messaged, as was previously testified to, he messaged everybody involved that he was being evicted and the children had to go to someone else. And so then they were placed in their current foster home at that time.
And so they've been placed with that foster parent since the beginning, correct?
Yes.
Now, we'll get to it later, but was there a period where they were reunified with the mother?
Yes, there was.
And after that, were they able to be returned to that same foster placement?
Yes, they were.
All right. So, as far as, let's talk about, just real briefly about Miss Fur. Was she able to complete the services in her initial service plan?
Yes, she was.
And initially, were the children able to be, or I guess ordered to be returned, and a reunification plan developed as part of, and then ordered as part of the initial permanency hearing order from April 28th of 2025?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And so, at the time that the children were reunified, what sort of living situation did Miss Fur have?
Miss Fur had a 1-bedroom like duplex there in Amarillo. It was appropriate for both her and the 2 children. She had plenty of space in it. I say it was 1 bedroom. She had a room that wasn't technically a bedroom that she could have put children in. She had beds for them. Everything was appropriate at the time of reunification.
Yeah. And at this time, Judge of the department would move to admit petitioner's exhibit number 6, which is the certified copy of the initial permanency order before, or initial permanency hearing order before final order from April 28th of 2025 that has been certified by the District Clerk of Randall County. We'd ask that that be admitted as a self-authenticating document.
All right, objections?
Objection.
Okay, 6 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge. And so ultimately, what happened, I guess, so ultimately, were the children officially placed with Miss Fur?
Yes, they were.
Okay, and so they did return to her home as a placement, correct?
Yes, they did.
And while the children were placed there, did the department develop some concerns that made that placement have to be changed?
Yes, we did.
What were some of the concerns that had come up?
Initially, it was an investigation intake that came across on Ms. Fur for her living conditions. It was stated that I believe an Amber Kelly was living there, and that she was actively using drugs, that there was a lot of yelling and screaming at the children. Late into the night, there was issues with the neighbor next door. And then throughout that investigation, we became aware of the fact that she was trying to move in a boyfriend and add a boyfriend onto this lease. Her landlord had reached out a couple of times to state that she'd had 2 lease violations. If she had a 3rd, she would be evicted. And then during all of this, she did eventually get evicted and moved back in with the uncle, Eddie Fur, that she was living with originally, or the kids were placed with originally. That apartment was considered very much not appropriate or safe for the children, just due to the dirtiness, the trash, things piled up everywhere. Having two small toddlers climbing all over everything was very dangerous. We were also made aware of phone calls between Patricia and Dustin while he was at Potter County, where they stated in multiple different phone calls how they were going to be getting back together, be getting married once he got out. In one of the phone calls, she very clearly states her address, where she was living at the time. They talked about having more children. And so all of those things put together made the reunification an unsafe place for the children.
And at that point, were Patricia and Dustin still precluded from having any contact?
Yes, at that point they were.
Was Dustin by court order, was his visitation with the children still restricted until he began mitigating the issues by completing his service plan?
Yes, they were.
And were at certain points in those phone calls, were they discussing the children and the children present?
Yes, they were.
Was that a concern for St. Francis?
Yes, that was a concern for us.
And why was it a concern from St. Francis that Ms. Fur was continuing to have contact and making these statements about continuing that relationship?
One, because we did have the court orders of no contact. She was allowing the children to have contact with her present. None of the domestic violence issues had been fixed basically on Dustin's side. We had no changed behaviors to report on from his side of things. And so her having those conversations where she clearly states that he would be coming home to her and the children, and she clearly states Natalie and Avery's name in some of these conversations. That was a big concern for their safety going forward.
And I mean, was Mr. Cross in agreement with the statements that she was making about them getting back together?
Yes, he was.
Did they indicate that at one point about having more children?
Yes, they did.
And what was Mr. Cross's, I guess, participation in that particular conversation?
He stated he wanted to continue to have more children until they had a little boy.
So is it your understanding that both parents were in agreement that this relationship would continue?
Yes, it is my understanding.
Okay. Now, did you come up with a plan with Patricia to attempt to address some of these new and continued concerns?
We did. It was court ordered then that she attend additional counseling with the focus being on domestic violence. And then we also talked about the possibility, it wasn't court ordered due to her work schedule, but we talked about her attending more of the domestic violence group sessions as she could, depending upon her work schedule.
And we talked about that being a court order. Was that actually ordered at the subsequent hearing on June 23rd of 2025?
Yes, it was.
All right. And Judge, the department would ask that, this time would move to admit petitioner's exhibit number 7, which would be a certified copy of the initial permanency hearing order before final order from June 23rd of 2025. Again, that is a self-authenticating document and has been certified true and correct by the district clerk in Randall County.
I thought petitioner 6 was the initial permanency order.
That was the initial. For whatever reason, Judge, the June one is also marked as initial. It is
Okay.
the permanency order from that date.
Okay, all right, objections? All right, petitioner 7 submitted.
Thank you, Judge. And then as far as Miss Fur was, I guess, as far as the service plans go, did she complete some of those additional, did she complete some of the additional counseling sessions?
She did complete them. I would get the progress reports from her counselor that they had attended sessions. She was very often distracted by her brother and her brother's wife in the background. At one point, she tried to do a counseling session in the car with them driving. And so the counselor did note that on a lot of her sessions that she was just very distracted and they were not able to address really anything in those sessions.
And did Miss Fur ever, did she ultimately make any statements to you about what she would like to see happen for the children in the future?
It was within the last couple of months that she opened up the conversation to adoption. She had talked with me about her mother, who we already had a previously denied home study on. And then she mentioned that she would be okay with their current foster mother adopting the children and that she would like to relinquish her rights.
And ultimately, did she end up signing a relinquishment?
Yes, she did.
And has that been filed with the court?
Yes, it has.
And Judge, we'd ask that you take judicial notice of the relinquishment filed by Patricia Fur that is in the court's file.
So noted.
Now, as far as Mr. Cross, let's talk a little bit about sort of his progress. Were you able to, when you were meeting with him in jail, at any point did he indicate that he had completed any of the services on his service plan?
He had told me that he had done an anger management class while he was in jail. He mentioned that it was just one class. I'm unsure if it was an ongoing thing and he was just able to attend one. I encouraged him to work with the jail's counselor because he did confirm they had one while he was there. He was resistant to that. He said he didn't see a point in speaking to the counselor. And that was really all. And I made it very clear that any services he did in jail, we could work with, even if it was anger management and not specifically titled the same thing as what was in his family plan of service. And so he knew that any services he did would work towards his family plan of service, but that's really the only one that he'd said he had tried to work on.
Okay. And so had he completed any of those services in jail, would that have gone towards the court orders that he participated in his plans of service and mitigate reasons for removal to potentially start looking at having visitation with the children again and looking towards reunifying with him?
Yes, it would have. And I did make that clear in my conversation with him that if he could send me any kind of confirmation, certificates of completion, anything that he did while in jail, that would go towards that progress. I also verified with him that he knew my email and my contact information while he was there so that he could send me those things if able.
And I guess to date, have you received anything, not just while he was in Potter County, but since he's been incarcerated elsewhere, have you received anything from him?
I have not.
Okay. Now, what has your communication been like with Mr. Cross since he was sentenced on his felony assault case in Potter County?
Once he was moved from Potter County Jail, I made attempts to call the prison he was at in Abilene. They directed me to an online visitation portal for him. I've had to do this before for other clients, and it's just putting in a request to have contact with the inmate. There's no selection for caseworker on that, and so it just sits in pins and never gets accepted by him.
Yeah. So have you made multiple attempts to reach out to him that way?
I have, I checked the online portal. Those attempts do eventually expire. And so I put in another attempt. I have done so as an acquaintance, as a stranger. There's an option for unknown. Those are the only 3 options that aren't family members or like a legal party that I can select.
Okay. And to date, has he responded to your request for any of those?
He has not.
All right. And so, to be clear, you've met with him before, and he would know your name, correct?
Yes, he would.
And he had met with you at in other facilities, correct?
Yes, he had.
Okay. And so going through sort of his service plan, what all had he been asked to complete?
He had been asked to complete his counseling. Let me go through it so I don't miss one. There was a psychological evaluation, individual therapy, parenting classes, and substance abuse classes because of his meth use. He was asked to complete, if he had gotten out of jail, he would be asked to complete the random UAs and hair follicles for us. He was asked to complete the BIP program, as well as a rational behavior therapy. We did ask to complete an OSAR for him due to the substance use, and then just the typical staying in touch, communication, things like that.
Would his completing BIP and the rational behavior and those other services have helped to mitigate some of the issues that had led to the removal?
Yes, they would have.
And do you believe that as far as those services that he was asked to complete, that they were narrowly tailored for this case?
Yes, I do.
Now, as far as visitation goes, did he have visitation with the children at any point during this case?
I do not believe so. Not while I was involved.
Sorry, while you were involved, is that what you said?
Not while I was involved. If he had an initial one, while DFPS still had it, I'm not aware of it, but while I was involved and after it was court ordered, he did not.
Okay. And at this point, is it your understanding that he's still incarcerated?
Yes, that is my understanding.
All right. And is it your understanding based off of the the conviction, judgment of conviction from that's been admitted in Petitioner's Exhibit 2B, would is he scheduled to be sentenced and incarcerated for longer than 2 years after the initial petition was filed in this case?
I believe so. I think his release date was April of 2027, I think was what it said last I looked.
Okay. And so has he sent any letters or anything like that for the children since you've been involved?
Not to me, so not that I am aware of.
Has he asked you or made any attempt to maintain any kind of contact or relationship with the children?
He has not with me, no.
Okay. And if he had responded to your request for contact while incarcerated, what sort of updates and things could you have given him regarding the children?
Anything typical with the children, I would have given him health, well-being, that they were together, how they were doing. He could have had all of that information through me about the children. He could have had any information as far as where the case was going and where we were at. I would have worked with him as best I could to get him going on any services that we could have while he was incarcerated.
And so as far as the children are concerned and returning them to Mr. Cross at this point, does the department believe that that's a viable option?
No, we do not.
What sort of concerns still exist?
One, we still have the concerns of the domestic violence, and has any of that behaviors really changed? We have not had anything to address that. He is set to be incarcerated until 2027. And that would be 2 years from now. That's, I mean, roughly 3 years that the children would be placed out of the home and with no interaction with their father.
At this point, can they be returned to him while he's incarcerated?
No, they cannot.
Do you believe that Mr. Cross engaged in conduct that knowingly placed the children in physical or engage in contact which endangered the physical and or emotional well-being of the children?
Yes.
And do you believe, I mean, how do you believe that he did that?
Due to the fact that they were there and present in the hotel room during the initial domestic violence, that exposes them to that kind of thing, which is very detrimental to their health and well-being. And we have no way of knowing that that would not happen again, as we have no changed behaviors to report on since he's been incarcerated.
And similarly, do you believe that by engaging in that domestic violence, he knowingly placed or knowingly allowed the children to remain in conditions or surroundings that endangered the physical or emotional well-being of the children?
Yes.
Do you believe that by continuing his relationship and continuing contact with Ms. Fur, that also knowingly placed the children in conditions that would continue to endanger their physical or emotional well-being?
Yes.
Do you have concerns that if he were released and the children were to remain in the custody of the parents, that the children would continue to be placed in situations that would endanger their physical and emotional well-being?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe at this point that Mr. Cross has any sort of relationship with his children?
I do not.
And have the children been in the conservatorship of the department for more than 6 months?
Yes, they have.
And I think you had already testified that do you believe he knowingly engaged in criminal conduct that has resulted in his conviction and confinement for more than 2 years after the
Yes.
filing of the original petition in this case?
Yes.
And from and now you are aware, are you aware that the mother had filed that relinquishment in this case?
Yes, I was.
I guess, what is the recommendation of the department at this point?
That the relinquishment be accepted and that the termination of Dustin Cross's parental rights be done.
As far as the placement with the current placement, is that intended to be a permanent placement?
Yes, it is.
Do you have any concerns with that as the permanent placement?
I do not.
Are you aware that placement and the Ms. Fur have remained in contact?
Yes, I am.
Does the department have any concerns with that contact?
We do not. They have an agreement in place between the two of them that as of right now, they are doing weekly FaceTime visits due to distance. And once the relinquishment is accepted, that will be moved to a monthly FaceTime visit. Foster mother has made it very clear that she will not do anything in person due to the possibility of, in the domestic violence issues between Dustin and Patricia, she does not want to place the children in any kind of danger of being exposed to that.
And is Ms. Fur in agreement with that?
Yes, she is.
And do both of them believe that that's in the children's best interest?
Yes, they do.
All right. And then are we asking that Mr. Cross's rights be terminated?
Yes, we are.
Do you believe the department's made reasonable efforts to reunify with Ms. Fur and with Mr. Cross?
Yes, I do.
And just briefly, what are some of the reasonable efforts to reunify the children with Ms. Fur?
We have worked through all of her services with her. We have set her up with services that work with her work schedule, also her transportation issues, things like that happened throughout the case. We attempted to work a reunification plan with her. Even after the reunification plan failed, we did attempt to work with her on all services that were ordered at that time and offered at that time. I have met with her monthly, or attempted to. I have added or asked, if there's any way I can support her in whatever ways we have available to us. And so that's everything I've done with Miss Fur.
Okay. As far as Mr. Cross, what reasonable efforts has the department made to try and reunify the children with him?
I have made efforts to stay in contact with him, depending on which facility he is at. I've visited him at multiple jails and attempted to keep in contact with him since he has been in the state penitentiaries.
And again, you testified earlier you went over with his family plan of service with him, correct?
Yes, I did in person. Yes.
And did you help him attempt to complete that?
Yes, we talked about the services that he could do while in Potter County Jail. Since he was going to be there for an amount of time, we weren't sure where he would actually end up long term. So we just worked with what services he could complete at Potter County at that point.
And had he completed any of the services while in the prison system, would those have also been counted towards the completion of his service plan?
Yes, they would have.
All right. Now, do you believe it is in the best interest of the children, or I guess, why do you believe it's in the best interest of the children for the parental rights of their parents to be terminated at this time?
Miss Fur has voluntarily relinquished her rights. She realizes it's in the best interest of the children to be where they are at, that they are very well taken care of. With Mr. Cross, he's going to be incarcerated for more than 2 years going forward. Again, it would be in the best interest for the children at even a 3-year mark to stay where they are at, where they are stable and able to provide permanency for them. We also have no changed behaviors to report on for Mr. Cross. So we still believe that the danger still exists for the domestic violence and the drug use at this time.
And based off of the conversations that he was having with Miss Fur while in custody, do you have any long-term concerns about the parents and the safety of both Miss Fur and the children if they were to be with either of the parents?
Yes, so due to the jail phone calls that we do have, they made it very clear that they plan on getting back together as soon as he is released. Getting married even to that point. So due to that and the fact that we do know that they plan on getting back together, it would be a risk for the children to be involved in either parent.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Saint.
No questions.
Mr. Naranjo?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Tendle, you said that you met with Mr. Cross at Swisher County Jail. Did Mr. Cross provide any information on any potential placements?
No, and he was actually in Castro County Jail, but I think it was just because Swisher County was too full. So that was confusing. He did not at that time. I asked him about family members. He told me that he did not have contact with any good family members. His only sister that he had in Tulia, he mentioned to me at that time, was a long-term drug user. I think he said 20 years or something like that. So he did state that his one family member that was in the area was inappropriate. He told me that his parents, I believe, had passed, and he was not able to tell me any other family that he wished for the children to be placed with or even looked into.
Now, did you ever send any written letters to any of the prisons that Mr. Cross was at?
I believe I sent a letter to the one in Abilene. I have not to the one in El Paso.
Did you ever send any courtesy workers to meet with Mr. Cross at Abilene or in El Paso?
Yes, he does have a courtesy worker that has attempted to meet with him in El Paso. And then I believe after some intervention with yourself and lawyers, from what I was reading in the emails, was actually able to get in and meet with him.
And are you aware of any information provided to any courtesy worker regarding any potential family placement from Mr. Cross?
I do believe there was 2 people mentioned. I think one of them was the sister that he initially talked about, but I can't confirm that without having talked to her, and this was after I was off the case.
Are you aware of whether the department has made any efforts to look into these 2 people that have been provided?
I'm not aware of that.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Wiggins.
I don't have any questions, Judge.
All right. Anything further from anyone from Ms. Tendle? All right,
No,
then.
Your
Can
Honor.
she be excused or do you need her to stay?
I do need her to stay, Judge.
All right. Then, Ms. Wildman, any other witnesses?
The department would call Ms. Burkhalter.
Okay, this needs to be, I've got to be out here by 3 o'clock, so make this real short.
I will, Judge.
Ms. Burkhalter, this is Judge Graham, if you'd unmute. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes,
All right, if you would, please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
yes,
Thank you, ma'am. You may proceed, Ms. Wildman.
Thank you, Judge. And Ms. Burkhalter, are you the current foster mother for Avery and Natalie Cross?
yes, ma'am.
And have they been with you since pretty much since removal, with the exception of the time they were with their mother?
Yes.
Now, how long have you been a foster parent?
Probably about 17 years.
Do you feel that after 17 years you are capable of meeting the emotional needs of Avery and Natalie in the future, now and in the future?
Definitely. Yes, ma'am.
If you are able to and it becomes an option, are you willing to adopt the children and be a long-term placement?
Yes.
Do you have you, I guess, developed a relationship with Patricia Fur since this case has begun?
Yes, we have.
Do you believe that you can facilitate a continued relationship with Miss Fur and the children in a safe and appropriate way?
Yes.
At this time, what sort do you believe it's necessarily in their best interest to continue having physical visits if termination is granted?
Physical visits, is that what you said?
In-person visits?
I wouldn't think so. I think the Zoom meetings have been going well.
Okay. And are you willing to continue to facilitate those?
Yes.
Have you been clear sort of with Ms. Fur on your expectations for those?
Yes, we decided on 1 a month.
Okay. And so far, have you been getting along well?
Yes, we get along very well.
Okay. And do you think that termination of both parents' rights would, or continuing visitation, even with the termination, could still be in their best interest?
Yes.
And as far as looking forward, do you feel like you have the experience to deal with any issues that may develop later on with the children, as far as any trauma-related or behavioral issues?
Yes.
Do you have experience in handling those kinds of behaviors?
Yes, quite a bit.
Do you have experience in finding resources that could help the children with any of those issues if they were to develop in the future?
Yes.
I know that the girls are pretty young now, but where you're at, do you have the ability to set them up in counseling in the future if it becomes necessary?
Yes.
And do you have any concerns about your ability to meet any of the physical needs of the children?
No.
What sort of relationship do the children have with your family?
They're very close with the family, especially Jake, my 12-year-old. They sing with him, they do stuff with him, and my parents, their grandparents, they're very attached to them and talk to them on the phone continuously, and so they're very attached.
In addition to your 12-year-old, do you have any other children?
Yes, I have an 18-year-old that's already graduated. He lives in Amarillo, and I have a 17-year-old that graduates next year.
Okay, and so do the children get along with them as well?
Yes,
And considering, are some of your other children adopted?
all of them.
And is that how you have experience with raising children that from foster care?
Yes,
All right, and so at this point, I mean, what are your hopes and dreams for Avery and Natalie?
I want them to be very happy, be very close with their siblings here, and have a wonderful life with us.
Is there anything that the court needs to be made aware of as far as Avery and Natalie are concerned?
No, they're doing really well.
Are they up to date on all their medical and everything?
Yes, everything's up to date.
Are they in any therapies at this point?
No, and we just had ECI tested a couple of weeks ago, and they came out, they said that they were above their age. So they thought they were 6 months advanced of where they should be.
And do you have any concerns at all about your, I already asked the question. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, anyone else have questions for Ms. Burkhalter?
No, Judge.
No, Your Honor.
All right. All right, any other witnesses, Ms. Wildman?
Just very briefly, Erin Sessions said she took over the case, Judge,
Very
for the last couple of
please.
weeks. Yes, Judge.
Ms. Sessions, if you raise your right hand, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Wildman.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Sessions, did you recently become the caseworker in this case?
Yes, I did.
Are there any updates, significant updates that need to be made after Ms. Tendle left the case as caseworker?
No, there's not.
Do you agree that the permanency plan for the children at this point is for the unrelated adoption with Ms. Burkhalter?
Yes.
Do you agree with the recommendation that both parents' rights be terminated?
Yes.
Do you agree that reasonable efforts have been made to reunify the children?
Yes.
And are you asking that the mother's rights today be terminated solely based on the K ground for the voluntary relinquishment that she signed?
Yes.
And are you asking today that the father's rights be terminated at the very least on the D, E, and Q grounds, the Q maybe now being P after O was removed?
Yes.
Do you believe that that's in the children's best interest?
Yes, I do.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Would anyone have further questions for Ms. Sessions?
No, Your Honor.
Briefly, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Sessions, have you made any efforts to look into the two persons that Mr. Cross provided for placement?
No, I have not. You provided them late last week.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, anyone else? All right, then. Ms. Wildman, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Saint, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Naranjo?
I would call Mr. Cross briefly, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Cross, if you'd raise your right hand, do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. If you would, please speak up just a little. All right, Ms. Naranjo?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cross, can you please state your full name?
Dustin Cross.
And are you the father of Avery and Natalie Cross?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you currently incarcerated over in El Paso at the Sanchez unit?
Yes, ma'am.
And when is your potential release date?
I am currently actually eligible for parole. I can see them be released at any time. My discharge date is December of 27.
And what services have you worked while you've been incarcerated?
I have completed a anger management course. I was going to send that to Miss Tyndall, but I did not have her physical address. She had said that she was going to send me a letter with an official letterhead, but I have not been able to receive that. Speaking of Miss Tyndall, she had stated that she had put some request in to talk to me over we have the tablet system here, and they must have been intervened at some point in time and filtered because I have not received any of said requests.
Did you ever receive any written letters from Miss Tyndall?
No, ma'am. But I have also signed up for the parenting classes furnished here at the Sanchez unit.
And what have you learned so far from the services that you've worked?
There is so many steps that to break the cycle that I had not even knew existed before. I could go into it, but the judge said he wanted to go here pretty quickly. But there's just several steps in the offense cycle that's an available place to break the cycle and step back and look and learn.
Will you be attending counseling?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know when you start that?
I do not. The only currently counseling I do attend is AA and NA, since that is an open call, and you don't have to be placed into that. But the parenting classes, I am waiting for approval to be placed into those classes. The approval being whenever a seat opens up.
And how often do you attend the NAAA meetings?
Weekly.
And before you were incarcerated, what kind of relationship did you have with your children?
Amazing.
Now, did you provide some relatives to the department to consider for placement?
I had said my sister Chandra and my niece Luciana.
Are you still wanting those persons to be considered for placement for your children?
Of course.
And would you prefer Luciana or Chandra?
Luciana.
And is it correct and accurate that you had some concerns regarding Chandra having some drug usage?
Well, hers wasn't drug usage. Several years, decades, she has been convicted of distribution. But Sandra, she has been used as a placement option before for other individuals that have been in this situation.
And to be clear for the court, the placement you're looking at is Luciana Wilson is your niece and Chandra White is your sister. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, are you asking today to keep your parental rights?
Yes.
And why are you asking for that?
Because, first and foremost, I love my children. I do want the best for them. I believe that I can provide them with a safe and stable environment. I know current situation is not allowing me to do so right now due to my position, but upon release, I do have prospective employers and stable environment to go to.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the court today?
I just united with my family. I love them very much.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Anyone have further questions for Mr. Cross?
No, Your Honor.
Very briefly, Judge. Mr. Cross, you would agree with me that just because you're eligible for parole, that doesn't really mean you could be released at any time, right?
I can be released at any time. Yes, I can. Just because I'm eligible is not a guarantee that I will be.
Correct. So you're not guaranteed to be released now or at any time in the future other than your maximum release date, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What attempts did you make to provide Ms. Tendle with the completion certificates for the class she completed at Potter County?
Whenever she came to see me, I had asked her to send me a letter back then with the official letterhead so I could get it. And that way I would...
Mr. Cross, I'm asking what efforts did you make to send her the documentation?
Without her address, I would have no...
okay, so...
I would have no way.
Were you not able to email it to her?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What sort of efforts have you made to contact Ms. Tendle or maintain contact with your children since you were incarcerated?
I was informed that I was not able to make contact with the children. As far as Ms. Tendle, with not having the address for St. Francis in order to write any type of correspondence. Of course, I'm in prison. I don't have access to emails and all of that. I don't even have her telephone number to have anybody call her.
So it's your testimony today that she did not make any of those attempts to reach out to you through the portal?
If she did, they have been intercepted on the institution side because I have not received any requests from
You already testified that at this time you are not able to provide your children with a safe living situation since you're incarcerated, correct?
Correct.
Do you think it's in the best interest of your children to have to wait in limbo to see whether or not you're able to do that in 2 to 3 years when you're released?
I know that they deserve the best, and while I would like them to be, with family, I also know my family would allow Ms. Fur more frequent visits than once a month. I would not object to them remaining where they are. I'm just requesting for the opportunity to prove myself.
Do you agree with me that you have not completed any services in the almost year that this case has been completed, correct?
Correct. I've been incarcerated.
And you agree with me that you could be incarcerated for quite a bit longer, correct?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. You said that you loved your family. However, did you also plead guilty to committing domestic violence against Ms. Fur in cause number 86695 EC, which is the assault against family member or household member with a previous conviction?
Yes, I did.
Do you believe that assaulting somebody is showing love?
No, ma'am, I do not.
And do you agree that at this point you have done no services directly related to addressing that domestic violence?
I agree.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, anyone have further questions for Mr. Cross? All right, then. All right, Ms. Naranjo, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then, Ms. Wiggins, recommendations?
I do believe it's in the children's best interest that both parental rights of the mother and the father are terminated.
All right, thank you. All right, then, based on the evidence I've heard today, as well as the exhibits that have been admitted, I do find that it's in the best interest of the children, Natalie Cross and Avery Cross, that the parental rights of the mother, Patricia Fur, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based solely on Section 161.001, subsection B1K, as well as the affidavit of relinquishment on file in this case. I further find that it's in the best interest of the children, Natalie Cross and Avery Cross, that the parental rights of the father, Dustin Cross, be terminated. I'll terminate those rights today based on Texas Family Code Section 161.001, subsections B1D, E, and P. I will name the Department of Permanent Managing Conservator, continue the children's current placements. Ms. Wiggins with the Randall County Domestic Relations Office will be continued in this case. All other court-appointed relationships will be dismissed after all appellate and de novo periods have expired. Mr. Saint, Ms. Naranjo, if you would consult with your clients concerning their de novo and their appellate rights, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, our first review hearing will be on January 5th, 2026. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so any parties that are still involved in this case can go on the court's online docket a day or two before January 5th to see exactly what time of day we'll have that hearing. All right, this was our last hearing for the day, so we will be in recess. Everyone have a good week.
And Judge, just to clarify, solely because of the difference between the petition and the law change, P was intended to be the knowingly engaged in criminal conduct, correct?
Correct. It's P now. It used to be Q.
Yes. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Y'all have a good week. We'll be in recess.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank y'all.